Good morning. It is 4:30, and um, I woke up and was feeling really, really rested after quite a day yesterday. And I thought, well, it's 5:30 or 6. I'll just get up. And I looked at the clock, and it was 3:33, which for many people who are spiritual, uh, it's a number from Matthew or John, and scripture is based in faith, which is completely aligned with where I am and what I'm choosing to speak into. I had an experience yesterday, and it's been over time. And what I'm choosing to share is the the depth of how much life is for us when we will trust what is happening around us. And my understanding or definition of faith in and of itself is for us to be in a place of grace, which is spiritually supported ease, and or ease even in the chaos of all of the things that are happening or going on around us. And I'm posting this in my personal feed and many people are unaware that I have been playing in consciousness for some time, and that I have now I do life coaching in consciousness. And so um, we do say that all of life is for us, and that we're here to um, enjoy the inherent states that we were brought into onto this planet. And what happens is we have all of these experiences, and whatever they may be, they are for us to bring us to the place of perfect understanding of self. And we may not get it when we're going through it, which is why we're required to have faith and ease during our seemingly tumultuous times in life. And so, over the last literally 3.5 years, I married someone, a tremendous amount of love and feeling for them, and uh, they relapsed into addiction, and it was friggin' brutal for both of us. And after 3 bouts of rehab and sober living, I came to the understanding that all I was doing was enabling them to stay where they were. And there was not going to be sobriety um, in my marriage. And so, in that excruciating experience, what I remembered for me was I can choose me, and that I reclaimed my own value in choosing me first. And the subsequent piece of that is over the last year and a half, because of the amount of frustration and anger that this person experienced with me. He's been playing with suing me in a lot of different ways. And for the first 6 months to a year, every time anything came across, I just so much. So it felt so scary, and it was phone calls, and I blocked the phone calls, and then he would find other ways to get information to me or ask me questions and call me from dummy numbers and sending me emails. And every time I'd see something from him, I would literally panic and fear. And it took me a long time to even be able to say that I had fear of him, because my words were, I'm not scared of him. And in part, one of the tools that I use as a life coach in consciousness is word patterns. And our subconscious is very, very literal. And so the word not deletes, goes away. We don't hear it. And so my language pattern was, I'm scared of him, even though I was saying I'm not scared of him. And I have childhood sexual trauma and as repressed as a child. And so the pattern of male powerful over fear of men in runs amok in my unconscious mind. And so it's not unusual that I would say that, but when we're talking about consciousness and we're talking about our own feelings, things are so close that we may be unaware of our own words, our own patterns. And even when we are in, my experience has been in coaching, that we're still, even working with playing with other coaches, we come along in steps. And it's old resentment coming up. And I choose to continue to share. We find patterns, and the pattern will baby step us to where we are, as life will baby step us so that we're in the perfect place at the perfect time to get the message. And so during this last year and a half, where my former spouse has been trying to sue me, and I remember, as I said, I remembered I had choice. I remembered my own value. And as I continued to play in consciousness and claim bits and pieces, I saw him as the size of my subconscious shame and the size of my subconscious guilt. And I played with that and brought myself further down the road. And I was able to come to have the clarity of, I can't block the fear. I blocked the phone calls, and I what I said is, I'm not responding to him. He's still got stuff coming across, and I'm not responding. There again, I'm responding. And where was I responding? In my head. And I was giving him a tremendous amount of real estate in my own mind. And if you play with anything today consciously, quantum physics, which is great universal law, the same thing that can be found in scripture. And it is that I am that which I say that I am. And so we're all completely made of electricity. There's very little matter in our bodies. And so every single word said or thought, so thoughts and words, creates a vibration that goes into our body that begins to it has an impact on our emotions, our feelings, which creates a hormonal response. And it goes into your immune system. It goes into our immune system. So it creates a peptide. And the peptide is the basis of DNA. So all of our negative and our negative thoughts, our sad thoughts, the things that we say out loud that are said in grief and sadness and fear, go into our bodies, where that hormone, it creates a hormone. And so we stay in a static state of fear, loss, grief, and this is all happening unbeknownst to us. And so while I was saying I'm not giving him any real estate, my thoughts were, and I was creating more and more of him bombarding me, He was saying, making, saying things that he was going to send me to jail, that I was going to go away, and bye bye birdie, and so's next. And I still like I couldn't say that I was afraid. And so, and my experience was that every time he tried to do something, I would get an attorney and we would take care of it. And he just kept coming, kept coming back. And this is because life is for me. I have yet to play with the fear. And I had yet to be able to fully say that I was afraid. And so I had most recently, I got to see him on camera and for a mediation, and that my body felt really scary. And we determined that we required being in court, and because I had been given him all this landscape, and I having conversations in my head about what I did, what I said, why I did, why I said. And so what was I doing? I was judging. And what did I create? I am that which I say I am in front of a judge. So I got to go in front of the judge and tried to do a bunch of other things, and that didn't work yet. And so um, I was in front of the judge, and he gave me a bench trial. And I was, "God, I gotta go all the way back out there." And everything in me knew that there was a reason that it was 6 weeks further out, and I had more stuff to deal with, and whatever this gentleman was choosing to say to me. And, but I knew in my heart. And I even told my mother, and I told several people, I know that there's a reason for this. And so through this time, I was blessed with the support of former spouses and spouse and girlfriend. And um, amazing support that I had no clue was available to me. And the scripture is that where there are two or more gathered in his name, um, the there's strength in numbers. And this wasn't a tearing down, this was a lifting up, because we play with all of these things in our head and how it's going to go and what it's going to do. And we keep all of that energy. So I've done as much to the best of my ability. I have stayed very positive, and it's kept me from acting, actually. And I remember when this last suit came up, I reached out to an attorney, and the person I chose had been involved in some other stuff. And so that wasn't the best solution. And so she gave me somebody else, and he wanted $1,200 for this little silly, frivolous thing. And I said, no, didn't want to spend that much money. And so one of the things we say is we ask in, we go direct to our great self. And I asked myself, do I use an attorney or do I do this myself? And I heard, I got me. And so that's what I chose to do. So I got me in the mediation, and I got me in the attempt to have it moved, and I got me going back. And when I was sitting in court, gosh, I felt so scared and so nervous. And I just kept decreeing, I am my own permanent victory in light. I am my own permanent victory in light. And I had a sister in support with text. And I remember sitting in the courtroom and um, feeling her with me, as if somebody was there holding my hand. And it was amazing. And so, and I had imagined, we do imagination because our subconscious doesn't know the difference between, subconscious is our creator, and what we tell it in imagination from deep feeling is what we're delivered, and we keep a focus on this. And um, I had done that prior to all of this, and my heart was a laughter of between he and I that was true and honest and loving. And um, and I kept telling myself, we find I find in the favor of the defendant, which is me, in their terms, not my words, but their terms. And so that was the experience that I had, is that I was my own victory, in speaking for myself. And the the line, we talk about 2020. And so in my experience coming back yesterday, I spoke with my sister in support, and um, what I know is that there is a blessing in everything. And what I got on a deeper level, first of all, was that this is a new level of me loving myself through my experience, because I stood up. I went when I was scared. I supported others even when I was afraid. And that is me stepping forward in courage for myself and to support other people in service. That's beautiful and amazing. And then, even as the day, once I was home and I gave myself uh, time and space to allow all of this fight or flight fear to move through my body, which is amazingly important, to allow the feelings that we're experiencing to be, whatever they may be, and to move through our bodies. And I have had some body language that has been for a long time, and it's massive burning in both my base of my thumbs and wrists. And so wrists are about flexibility, and hands are handling, and our thumbs are our will. And pain is a signal to pay attention to something that is asking for a limiting belief to be changed, to see something in a new and different way. And I've been playing with this signal. It's actually what brought me into what I do today. That was when I went to my very first body language class. That was the signal that I had. And the pain is something that has been with me since I was in college, on and off. And I would have periods where it would subside or be completely gone and come back. And so yesterday is a gift to myself. I was doing some MFR, which is myofascial release, which allows uh, congealed energy to move through our bodies. And I happened to have the TV on, and I was listening to some very interesting to me about consciousness. And there was a healer with somebody who was having shaking hands, and uh, they spoke into the adrenal, which made perfect sense to me, because adrenal is what happens when we have massive fight or flight and cortisol buildup. And he says, you've been in massive fight or flight. And I had an aha moment with myself, holding on to massive fight or flight. And that was something, a signal that I had not played with in my hands. And what we know is that everything gets stored in our body until we actually handle it. And fight or flight is what most of humanity has been living in. um, Tremendous fear running amok subconscious. It's what comes out as stress and anxiety and worry. And many of us are stuck, excuse me, um, in the patterns of fight or flight. And so in that moment, I do, I chose to breathe into my body on a deeper level, and discovered the color of what the energy that was in my arms was dark. And because I was already on the floor, I chose to send the energy into the earth to be transmuted, and the pain went away almost immediately. And I had um, my aha moment. And one of the things that the quotes that I love, and comes from Gabriella Bernstein. She says, "A miracle is the holy instant in which we realize that an old fear can be transformed or shifted into something completely new and different." And my experience is that this man who I loved represented someone else who was supposed to love me, he had power over me, and I quelled, I collapsed. And that's awesome, because what I got is how to stand up. And so in all of this, um, the thread is that I had the aha to stand up for myself, to speak for me, that there was no requirement for me to have an attorney to take care of me. And then I trusted what I heard in me. And there were times of doubt that came up, and I went back and I had the discussion, and I asked, and again, trust. I trust what I hear in me. And um and I walk by faith, knowing that life is for me. And so in this time frame, I had sisters and support come in. I had this amazing clarity of new level of self-love. And I woke up that what has been acting for me that I could not put my finger on for so long was fear. And it seems, it always like, gosh, really, that's what it was. And it took me so long to figure that out. And we talk about veils of reality, and they're really, really close to us. And so we don't always see them in ourselves, which is why many of us that have coaches have coaches. And it's why I've chosen to coach, because everything we do with others is for ourselves, because we're all connected in electric light, in electric love, and spirit love. We are all one great entity, interwoven and tied together with massive love. And so again, life is for us when we will trust what we know in ourselves, and ask in and receive that clarity, and the will come, and our outcome will be as glorious or even more glorious than we can have imagined. Because, yes, I imagined um, being victorious in my own way. In the courtroom, I also got something else that was even bigger and even more, in support. And I, I, I welcome you to listen to yourself and remember that, um, life is for you, and to trust that there is, you can do all things, and you can have all things. Blessings. And uh, if this is, you have any sparks, anything that you choose to have a conversation with me, or um, something on a deeper level, you're welcome to message me directly. You can find me at Andrea Alexander, I remember. And I also partner with another woman, and we have Embody. And I'll put links down there for you to see. And you're welcome to reach out if you have any questions or something you'd like to share back. I would be grateful to receive you. Thank you.